Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. On today's video, I'm going to be recapping week number 11 of our 16-week marathon training plan that I'm using to help me prepare to run the Boston Marathon. We started this week with dry roads. Unfortunately, those dry roads didn't last long. Severe weather alerts were more commonplace on my Garmin Fenix 6. I spent a few minutes each day just assessing the weather conditions out my window, deciding how many layers to put on and what shoes to wear. In total this week, I ran just a little over 40 miles. I had 6 different yoga sessions, 1 strength training, and then I ran 4 different times. So let's start with that first run. So I am going to be running some intervals today. They're 10 minutes long with 2 minutes to recover in between. I'm going to run 3 of those, so 30 minutes of hard running. The sun is shining, so that's always a good sign. But it is right at that freezing mark, so it's 32 degrees Fahrenheit, so it is not warm. And I am filming this on the Insta360 Go2. I am trying to fashion up a bit of a windscreen to improve the audio. The audio is pretty good actually for the most part, but when it's super windy, of course it does impact the quality that I can get. So I'm trying to fashion up something that might improve that. I've also got the Insta360 that records at 360 degrees. That's the footage that I love the most. So I wanted to make sure that I brought that with me here today. And I'm running in the Nike Vaporfly Next Percent 2s. I think maybe I'm feeling a little bit nostalgic. This was my favorite shoe to run in for quite a while. It's the shoe that I ran in the Bayshore Marathon in. Super comfortable upper. And with Nike releasing the Vaporfly 3 this month, I just thought I'd pull it off the shelf and give them a run today. Kind of think back on some good times. All right, I'm going to go get this one done. To help us break this workout down, I'm going on to connect.garmin.com. And this is also where you can find the self-guided intermediate marathon training program that I'm using. So we're going to scroll all the way over to the left-hand side of the screen once you've logged in. I'm going to go down to where it says activities. And I initially start with all activities, but then I want to focus on just the runs. And so I'm going to click on my little runner guy up there at the top. And I'm going to go to March 9th. For some reason, they have it on here twice. Don't know why or how that happened, but I'm going to click on one of them in order to get a closer look at the workout. Now here you can see I went 7.39 miles in total, and I just ran those around my town, as you can see from the run footage. And I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom of the screen to where it says stats. Now I had an effective VO2 max on my training. I always like to see that. 154 beats per minute was my average heart rate. And then I'm going to scroll over here. You can see it was a 7:37 minute mile pace on average. Includes your cool down as well as the rest periods in between the interval workouts. And then up here we see that it's 184 steps per minute. I like that. That's about where I want to be. Maybe a little quicker than that would be okay. But that was on average. My max run cadence was 195 steps per minute. My average stride length was 1.15 meters. And then my ground contact between my left and my right foot was a little bit skewed on this particular workout, but nothing that I'm overly concerned about. Okay, I'm going to click on intervals because that's what we ran today. And I'm going to click just on the run activity. So we're going to focus on the 3 different intervals that I ran. Again, the format is 10 minutes with 2 minutes to recover in between. And here you can see that I was running an average pace of 6:44 for the first one, 7:02, and then a 6:56. So not necessarily lightning fast, but I'll take it. I felt like I had a pretty good run, and again I was running in the Nike Vaporfly Next Percent 2 running shoes. So the workout is done. Let's see if Bella's waiting for me at the door like she sometimes is. Not always. Or when she hears me come in. Yeah, so tomorrow I think I have either a recovery run, easy run. It's going to be a bit more relaxed. And I'm thankful for that because we do have another winter storm coming in. We're talking, I don't know, 5-6 inches of snow, something like that. So I will likely be in one of the Hoka trail shoes. And heck, as long as it's snowing, I'm in trail shoes, who knows? I might go out to the state park and just take it easy and truck around maybe some of the trails that I haven't seen in a while. That would be a little bit of a mental boost for me too, because that's one of my favorite things to do is just to run in trails. If I lived in Colorado, boy, I'd be taking advantage of that fact, but we don't have that kind of trails out here. Ours are pretty flat, but still in the summer times, they're scenic, and I'll enjoy what we have. I'm thankful for it. All right. I think Bella is wanting to go for a little bit of a walk around the house, so I should probably put her vest on. Snow has returned. Thankful that it's an easy run today. Put on the Invincible Run, the original version, just because my legs are feeling a little bit tired, a little bit beat up today, so I thought it'd be nice to have a soft cushion ride. I'll have to probably stick to the roads mainly, so heads up for traffic, that's for sure. No music today. I really need to be paying attention to what's going on the roads. All right, I'm gonna go get this done. Now here, this was an easy run, so let's click on the easy run, and you can see I went 6.62 miles around town. Now here the weather did play a role, and I was wearing, of all shoes, the Nike Invincible Run, the original version, or version 1. They're really soft, comfortable, a little bit squishy, but you know, they had some pretty good outsoles, and they worked out fine. I didn't have any real issues running with those out on the wet pavement. A little bit icy at times, definitely some snow-covered areas that I had to make my way through. So let's scroll down at the bottom. Now, this is an easy run, so not as many stats to look at necessarily, or at least exciting ones. So it was a tempo effect. 146 beats per minute was my heart rate. And then average pace, 8:22 minute mile. My best pace was 7:27 in the Invincible Run. 181 steps per minute was my average cadence. Max was 190. My stride length a little bit less, so not quite striding out there. But my ground contact between my left and the right was much closer to that 50-50 mark, and I do like to see that, because although I'm not overly concerned when it's not exactly 50-50, I do pay attention to it because I think there's that possibility, if I get too far out of whack, that it could result in injury at some point down the road. So that is something that I am paying attention to. Okay, so as an easy run, that's about all there is to that for us to look at. So let's click on the next easy run. So it's about 25 degrees Fahrenheit today, so definitely a little on the cool side. I'm going to be running in the Hoka Speed Goat 5 to try to keep myself upright, hopefully not be slipping around too awful much, although the blacktop looks pretty dicey. All right, let's go get this done. This easy run was really easy. It was short in terms of the duration, primarily because it's the day before a long run, and so it's much more of that shakeout run, I would guess. It would be kind of the equivalency. And so you can see I went 4.7 miles, and I'm going to scroll down here all the way to the bottom, and here we can see it just had an effect on my training of base, and that's exactly what it should do. 143 beats per minute on average for my heart rate. Max heart rate was 155 beats per minute. And then I ran an 8:47 minute mile pace. So again, that was an easy run at an easy pace, and it felt good and fun to run in. I was running in the Hoka Speed Goat 5s, and they felt really comfortable out there with that mix of snow and ice, and at some point, at least in parts, I did have a little bit of dry pavement, but for the most part, it was some pretty wintry conditions. 182 steps per minute was my average cadence. 193 steps per minute was the max. Kind of a shorter stride length. That's what happens when roads are crummy, as I don't feel like I can really toe off. I'm really more bouncing off, and I'm not pulling back so much in my, as I work through my gait cycle. So it certainly does account for a shorter stride length. And again, just about 50-50 in terms of the average ground contact time. All right, so let's back up, and that brings us to the fourth and final run of the week, which is my long run, and by far the most difficult run that I have had to date in this training block, and that's all because of the weather. So let's go ahead and click on it and take a look and see. Okay, so now the format for this run was to run for about 2 hours and 30 minutes at an easy pace, and then pick it up to marathon pace for the last 30 minutes. I can tell you right now that that didn't happen. I was running an easy pace, and after that first hour and a half, instead of starting to think about, running marathon pace, my mind was going to survival mode because it was just crummy. The roads were difficult to run on, lots of new fallen snow with the ice and making it slippery. It was just difficult, and I was feeling it, and my legs were already tired, like I said, after an hour and a half, and I still had another hour and a half to go. And you can see at one point in the video footage here, as I'm running out on some country roads, or turning around and kind of an out and back where you've got a FedEx truck that is stuck in the snow. So the snow was definitely deep in some areas, which just made the workout that much more difficult. All right, so 21.4 miles, average cadence was an 8:58 minute mile. So definitely I honored the easy run part of it. So let's go ahead and scroll down to the bottom here. And again, we can see it had a tempo effect, 146 beats per minute on average for the heart rate. That's not terrible. I'll take that for, a 3-hour run. 160 beats per minute max was my heart rate. Again, 8:58 minute mile average pace. 7:23 minute mile was my best pace at some point. 183 steps per minute in terms of my cadence. 194 steps as far as my max cadence. My stride length was pretty short, but again, the weather conditions just dictated what I was able to do out there on the run. A little bit more ground contact time on my left than my right. And let's see if I can find here, if I scroll up just a little bit. I don't know if it's going to give me, if I click on intervals, what it's going to show me. It's not going to give us that last 30 minutes. So again, 2.5 hours at an easy pace, and then I was to pick up the pace for the last 30 minutes. My marathon pace goal is about a 7:40 minute mile, but I was running at best, 8:30 minute mile pace for that last 30 minutes because again, my legs were just tired. Now, in terms of fueling for that long run, right before I went out the door, I took a Martin Calf 100. And then at the 5-mile mark, I took a Gel 100, again Martin. And then at the 10-mile, I took another Gel 100. And then at the 15-mile mark, I took my final gel for the workout. And that was a Calf 100. Give me just that little extra energy toward the end. And I really needed it. Overall, I've had a really good experience using the Martins. Okay, so that is the week number 11 in terms of the summary of the stats of the different run activities that I've completed. Thanks for making it to the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it for you. As always, run tall, run strong, be kind to one another. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time here on Run Tall with Tim.